man, if you're not ripping something like Psycho Killer today with this frickin' market, you're doing it wrong as far as I'm concerned. HFR
I
from the
mean,
floor.
pretty one-way market. If you just, you
From
came in.
from the 8:30, 9:30 East Coast time, 6:30 Pacific time open, you are correct. As the PPI, again, we just keep outperforming with news around prices. They schmeezed it, and you know what? I got to tell you what, I had about a 1% chance in my mind that we'd go retake the highs from the pre-number. That it was just, and you know what? When you look at the chart after the washout, it was orderly. It was an orderly rally. If you look at some shorter time frames.
Yeah, but I'm going to post this chart that I posted in the Market Vitals community this morning. That is marketvitals.io. If you'd like to join, it's free. And what I posted was, I think the CPI, and that this was before we took off. I said, as long as there's a couple things coming together here. You had the 61.8 from the COVID low to the all-time high, and also the low end of this value zone, which was right here around, basically we've been trading right around 800. So we went through and kind of held that, that area before you go to the next little pocket there. And as long as that held, which we did from 5:30 when the news hit until 6:30, and this is West Coast, and then they did it again, when the market opened an hour later. So we didn't move out of that hour range at all. So that 5:30 IB, if you will, which, whether it's a jobs day or CPI, a big macro day. And right now, the big macro item, the biggest is always FOMC, but the next one is CPI. And if you're not comfortable trading on these big macro event days, I say just take them off, because this type of thing in an illiquid market, which the Fed has created, and everybody gets jagged to one side and then they jag them to the next side, this is how it's going to be for a long time. But if you were aware of this, you're like, well, I could buy 500 all day and stop at 450 and probably be good, especially after that hour went by. I mean, let me peel in just so you can see this a little bit and kind of what happened. So we had this whoosh. And again, I came in with no position. I was kicking myself for not having a standing like 10,980 order in there, because I was like, they're going to take this thing down regardless of whatever the number is. It's not going to be good. They're just going to take it down. They're going to try to find a low. So this was kind of what I thought would happen. And they did, once the market opened, it tested that low, went a little lower, just barely, 487, right?
Yeah,
and then,
but nothing. And is that a 5-minute?
This is a 5-minute chart. And like I told you, I was looking to get long today if we got over 556. Well, that happened right about here. Right here about 6:45. So I got long, and since then, it was just another trend day trade. I mean, all we did is go up. Exactly. Now I told you I took about 270 points, and I'm not kicking myself that there was another 200, 250 left on the table. Again,
what can you do? Yes, never beat yourself up over.
No, and I was like this. I was like, God, that was a good trade. 276 points. God, you kill it. Slapping myself on the back, right about here, right about there, right about when I got out.
Oh, of course, and you should have taken profits there. We say it all the time. Bulls make money, bears make money, pigs get slaughtered.
No, but I like to talk about this stuff, because people think you're not going to get you're not going to get the bottom, and you're not going to. I didn't buy 500. I waited for the market to show me which way it was going to go.
Exactly.
And
had you not sold them there, right, and that belly holds and it comes right back down, you're believe me, that mindset is way worse.
Yeah.
And when you don't take profits versus I could have got more.
Right.
I could have got more is a way better one to deal with.
Yeah. Could have, should have, would have every day for a trader.
Yeah.
Forget
about it.
Every day.
Forget about it.
Every day I write the book.
All right, Matt, listen, we need to share this.
So other than that, nothing's really changed. We're up for the day, and we're at 11,000 and we're at 3650. These are the key numbers for, guess what? These have been the battlegrounds for the last 3 weeks. So
Matt, you know, in celebration, you should probably head to the grocery store and get yourself a frozen pizza.
By the way,
Um,
is a guy on keto like yourself? What are you even doing going down that aisle? Why are you tormenting yourself?
This is shared from, I'll get the name in a second here. Insane amount of pizza available at the grocery store in Wisconsin. You got that full length of the frozen section. A couple of end caps here, and then the middle one. He's got to veer around. Just blows me. Give me 50 of these, 20 of those, 10. I mean, I need a chest freezer. It's still going, by the way, because we get to the other end pack.
In Wisconsin, is Wisconsin even weed legal? That seems like a lot of pizza for a non-weed state.
Matt, speaking of pizzas, we wanted to talk about furniture retailers, and that's where you end up, you know, pulling a tube and sitting on the couch. So I wanted to do frozen pizza makers, but there's just, you know, Nestle is the biggest, I think, and not traded here in the USA. Anyway.
Well, I wanted to talk about, like, like we talked about RCII and a couple of these other shitty, you know, retail models, right? And there's a number of online ones still. Overstock to me is still a pig. And the fact that it has Patrick Byrne and associated with Bitcoin, that's a big piece of it. Now, a lot of people are pretty bullish on this, but I still think you're a little early here at 26. And why do I say that? Because
pull it up. We don't see it.
I'm sorry. Sorry about that, Bob.
No, don't be sorry. Let's go. Let's go.
Well, I thought it had already.
Overstock.com. You know, I don't recall seeing, they used to advertise the hell out of this company.
Yeah. And again, you know, I just bought some furniture from them and it was on sale. So I'm helping out their inventory situation. Here's the deal. Just like with Nike, all these companies, their inventories are piling up and we haven't had any negative economic news except for CPI. That's the only
Exactly.
thing.
I keep saying that to people. The bottom is when you don't get a reaction from terrible economic, messaging from companies. That's where it's got to come from.
Yep. So, and again, we've got earnings coming up here. They, let's see, they're coming out on October 27th, so 2 weeks from today. And again, I have no position in this thing. I just think that it's again, maybe a little early. Like, what are you going to get? Why would we bounce to 70, even though that's the top end of value? I don't know why we would, but that's the possibility. So I'm not necessarily long. I'm not short here, but I'm not long either, I guess is what I'm saying.
And again, I mean, that big fat profile there now that we're into, why wouldn't we cover all of it?
Yeah, and I think if you want a good area, maybe $10. And don't forget the COVID low on this thing. And we weren't in the COVID high, by the way, was 28. And we're right below that, the COVID high. So this thing, was dragging along the bottom in a good economy. And again, I'm just going to bring it up. These spikes were all Bitcoin. The rest has nothing to do with selling overstock of whatever it is they're selling, furniture, etc. The other one that everybody knows, and this one's even a bigger pig, and the chart shows it, Wayfair. And I can't believe we didn't talk about this. We have not talked about this one, but it was just along with the rest of them. I mean, it was a pig here at the beginning of 21. Spent kind of 22 not going, or 21 not going down, but not really going up. And then it finally broke with everything, at the beginning of the year when it broke 230 and whoosh, Bob, all the way back to 30. So again, a 95% crush on this thing.
Yeah. And Matt, when you bring that up,
but the thing before you comment, the thing is the COVID low is right here, right? And $28. But I don't want to buy it here either because their inventory is now piling up. They're going to have to, they can't buy anymore. They're not, they're not rolling up any companies. So I just don't. And then the other one that I was thinking about, because we live here in Bend, and this company, I don't know if people know, but Hydro Flask started here in Bend, and Hydro Flask was bought by Helen of Troy. And Helen of Troy is another, just shitty retailer. Like they're out of El Paso. So if you're out of El Paso, things are bad.
Slow down with hating on El Paso.
But
You can
call me a racist because I don't like El Paso. Whatever. It's a shitty place to live. It's violent. You go over to Juarez, dude. You better have your flak jacket, and you better have your cajones with you because it's a scary place. I've been there many times. Scary place. Anyways, we are below the COVID low that here, which again was 103. Okay, so this is a company that just buys up brands. They buy up Osprey. They just bought Osprey, another tent company. During COVID at the peak, they paid like 14 times a tent company. And so they're rolling up and now they have no money left to go out and acquire and do acquisitions. There's nothing left on the books. They're highly levered. They got shit piles of inventory. How many hydros do you have in your house? In my house, my kids are gone. They each had 3 or 4. I still have like 4 or 5 of them in my house. I mean, do I need
you're
more?
saying that the need to buy a hydro flask is
but that's just one of their products.
No, I understand that. Matt, do me a favor though. They just had earnings here.
They did. And the earnings they beat 3.81, surprise. But again, look at the sales. And again, I bet you if we look into the financials here and looked at their balance sheet, the inventory is the thing that you'd be like, warning, Will Robinson, warning.
I fractal out a little bit because
well, this is a daily going back.
I understand that, but I don't see where did it come from?
Well, it's had a hell of a run, during this roll up easy cash period. But now we're just getting into value again. We're just getting into it. So I think out of all these, if you wanted, this is the one I think that has the best opportunity to downside still. And I wouldn't be as afraid of shorting this as I would say Overstock or Wayfair.
Wayfair, yeah.
But I think Wayfair has the possibility of going out of business, and I think I think any of these do with the current the current environment and the retail environment where we're heading. I just don't see these things as being healthy vehicles. People are going to cut back their swag and they're not going to buy.
Let me ask you a question: are they paying a dividend?
No.
And I just keep coming back to this because
their balance sheet is horrible about this. They don't make money.
Why would you hold a stock that's not paying a dividend if you can get 4% on a 2-year?
And the only way this model works, and the reason why these prices worked, and I'm going to show it again, is because they were acquiring. They were using leverage buyout to take out other companies with. That's why you had this move. Okay, so now that move has been fully reversed from 90 to 260 back to 90. And there's no money left for acquisitions, none. And things are too expensive to be, what do you want
exactly.
to buy?
That acquisition model when
and then it makes me think and then you think of just the one competitor, Yeti, that people that they came in after the fact. So there's so many competitors, that make thermoses. That's all they are. They're thermoses, right? Thermoses and coolers and all this.
In fact, thermos itself has to be saying, why didn't we make a shittier one that doesn't keep stuff cold or keep stuff hot? Because that's basically what they are.
But this just came public during the during the salad days. Again, here it came public in 2018, and so again, if you bought it and rode that up 10x, you bought it the day it went public at 15 and went to 108. God bless you. I would not have been. I would have said no. I don't want any of that product in my books. No. But again, who would have known that we had COVID and this whole, $6 trillion pumped into the market, and now it's getting taken out. I mean, this is so it is back in value, but again, I guess this is more just to tell the story. These things, they may look value, but I think they can go a lot lower. I think they can go test the COVID low, which is 15, 16. So wait. You don't need to wait, or you don't need to rush in to buy these. Wait. This stuff is going to be the last stuff to turn, is what I'm saying, especially with the consumer just starting to, get squeezed, just starting to get kicked in the balls. Yes.
Nothing like a good old fashioned kick to the chops.
But I thought that, I thought that was an interesting thing, to talk about, because again, we're trying to get people thinking about, kind of the way, street thinks and how you kind of go down these corridors to find opportunities, right? So we just kind of looked at a sector and you could probably find a half a dozen more names, smaller caps or whatever, but this is where you start doing your homework. You look at the charts, and then if you want to get into the balance sheets, you should look at what types of inventories and pricing, and Target's cutting back, Walmart's cutting back on purchases, Costco, they're not buying this stuff. They have tons of it. They don't need more, right? We're saturated.
There is no doubt.
And if you're not,
about
if you're Helen of Troy, and everybody's got, they've got, other things. It's like, why would they bring in another product when they already have too many products on their shelves?
I mean, I just think too, so if they can't acquire anymore because the acquisition model does not work as well with rates where they are, now you're depending on all of your acquisitions performing.
Right.
And generating cash and right, exactly. I mean, so I agree with that cerebral analysis.
So that was
Thermos, is Thermos publicly traded?
I don't know. Doubt it. It's probably rolled up into one of these others. Interesting today still is the bonds, although the equity markets have all gone green majorly for the day, also considering where we were.
Yeah, not normal markets. Let's make sure we say that.
But what's interesting is we talk about this a lot. Like, if this is why, you look to the bonds for guide, but they wouldn't have really told you. They were up earlier because they were up before everything. They all kind of moved in concert, but they haven't taken out the day's highs like the equities have. So that's interesting because something again seems a little off here.
For sure, we said in the last several days how over short this market was.
Yeah.
And we said, I said several times that the thing about all those shorts being in the market is it's hard to have a runaway to the downside because everybody that's short has a bid in, wants to take profit.
Yep.
And that prevents, when everybody's short and those bids are there, it prevents it from running away.
And there continues to be a lid at 4 on the 10-year. So I'm just going to put that up here again. We traded over 4 off the CPI, went all the way up to 408. This is the 10-year future. And since then, we have sold off in a pretty hard way. And so again, rates went up. They came back down. The spread, however, the 2-year is still well over a half basis point difference. So we continue to make new highs, and this was a new high in the 2-year. Again, like I was talking to my son, who's in the finance business on the commercial real estate side, and he does a lot of analyst work, and he's only a couple years out of college, and he's really learning a ton because what crazy volatile markets, and and his bosses are telling him like that, basically that these rates that we had the last half a dozen years we'll never see again in our lifetimes. The principals who have been in this business 30, 40 years have never saw it. So why would you expect for it to come right back to it, right? So it's not going to.
That's what that seems to be the continuing mindset of the zombie land that we live in. Yep. It's amazing because the zombie land is not only on prices of assets. The zombie land continues to be evident in foreign policy and the whole jab narrative. Take your pick. Like, everybody's still incredibly siloed in their belief system.
It's
shocking. Yeah, it's shocking to me. It is absolutely shocking to me.
The dissonance is heavy. It's really heavy. So again, 2 years still strongly over. Nothing really changed. So like the composure, the composite, whatever you want to call it, of the market right now. Although we've had this big equity day, there's not a lot of confirmation still. But again, I could see a trading bottom still happening as long as that 10.5 holds. If the 10.5 doesn't hold, again, I'm still looking at 8 or 9 being the next level. When you look at the NASDAQ, and for me, 3,300 still on the spoos. But this morning, when that CPI number hit, myself, I was actually selling a lot of Friday puts, tomorrow expiration, one day. I mean, I was selling 34.30s for $15 this morning, 34.30s when we were trading right around 3,500.
Right on.
And so that's like getting long at 34.15 tomorrow. And I was basically, and again, I was doing it probably, 40 minutes into the market. It wasn't like right off the open. I was doing it.
And it wasn't in your mindset, never was, I'm going to hold these till tomorrow's close.
No, and they collapsed. I mean, they absolutely, I've already taken most of them off because they went from 14.15 down to about $1.
Right.
So I'm not going to wait around for the last, dollar. I'm taking 95% of the trade and I'll pay the commission. Who cares? Move on next. But that was pretty good. Those were good trades. And it's a good way for you if you don't want to buy the outrights. And a lot of people are uncomfortable in these volatile markets. Well, then sell some puts way below the market where you think it can't go, like way below it.
Now,
again,
you had said that you thought the bottom might be in here short term.
Just short term tradable.
And again, I think that until you get, I have no problem seeing this thing rally right back. In fact, there's so much room on standard deviation modeling to rally and still be shitty.
Yes.
It's insane because big markets, big ranges beget big risk. And until companies start actually reporting misses and losing money, like how is that not a possibility in the future? I mean, again, people are discounting it, like the dip, you got to buy the dip and everything's going to be fine. I am still not, I know my purse strings have been pulled tight in this environment. And so it's got to be for most people. And that does not translate into record profits. I don't care what you're telling me.
Well, here's a 2-week chart of the SPOOs right here. Just want to, again, I think you got to find, I kind of like the 1 day, 2 day. I like the 1 week. I like the 2 weeks, and I like the month, right? I want to know where the profile is on all those timeframes. That's like the shortest timeframes I'm involved in. I don't get into ticks and all these things. I'm not a hyperactive trader. I'm looking for bigger moves. So again, we're running right here. Just in 2-week high was 2-week high. 2 weeks, and really 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days of trading, we went from 38.21 to 3,500. That's a 10% move plus. So 61.8 is right here at 3,700. The value area kind of drips higher again. So, but to your point, just because we go to 37.60 doesn't mean
yeah. And seriously, I mean, how crazy is that to have that thought process?
Right.
You go to 37.60 and it's still a sale.
Yes. So, I'm not saying buy right here. And again, this is a tricky market. If you miss this whole, that move happened.
They're squeezing the fuck out of the shorts right now.
Yeah. And they're gonna continue to. And the bonds are
80 SPOOs.
Yep. High of the day.
All right, Matt, more importantly, Chicago Bears, Washington Commanders. Hold on before you go there. Don't even go there yet. We got news. We got breaking news. Hold on a second. There we go. Breaking news, Matt, from the New York Post, the better Post. The New York Post. Dan Snyder has dirt on Jerry Jones as he desperately tries to hold on to the Commanders. Like if the Arizona guy lost his franchise, what are the odds here that Dan Snyder can hold on? And what does he have on Jerry Jones? And how could it be shocking that multimillionaires act immoral, I would say is the word I'll use, immoral, from time to time? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. So again, let's take a look at the line on that game, because frankly, outside of Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones, nobody gives a shit. And let's just see what the line. Oh, and the line agrees with me. It's a pick'em game. 2 shit boxes. Pick your shit box and hopefully you win. I don't know what to say. I would go with the home team because I don't care, and you like the Bears. So
I got to take the Bears. Our standard bet. I'll take the Bears in the under.
So I got to take Dan Snyder and Jerry Jones against you. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. And the over.
And the over.
Yeah.
I don't want.
All right. More importantly, America's pastime in full throttle playoffs.
Yeah, two great games again yesterday. Not the underdogs, but the Braves actually tied up that series, and they were down after losing the first game to Phillies. They came back in a huge rain delay and won. And then the Padres again with that was a great game because it was back and forth, the two teams for quite a while. And by the time they started breaking out, it was the Padres held on 5-3. Great pitching by Darvish and Clayton Kershaw. It was a good matchup, but they were giving up dingers, solo shots. Freeman hit one, Soto hit one. It was exciting. But then the Padres pulled away. So now we get to go to San Diego for 2 this weekend, Friday, Saturday. They did get today off. They go Friday, Saturday, and then Sunday back in LA. So we get 3 more games there for sure. I'm excited. That's been this round of series. I'm most excited about that one. Today we've got the Mariners trying to get their heads out of their ass after that debacle. And again, I blame that really on the manager. What are you doing pitching to the guy who already dinged you and is known as like the most lethal hitter in the world? And he's 25 years old again. So I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting. I think, I would take the Mariners in that game because they're probably getting the run line, or you can just take the straight up money line. And then the Guardians, Yankees. You got to go with the Yankees. They're just too good. Guardians, Guardians like the Commanders. They should go back to their original name. They're the Indians. Otherwise, they're going to be cursed. They were already cursed as the Indians.
They are cursed. They are cursed.
So
I'm not sure what galaxy they're cursed in, but.
And by the way, crude today. I wanted to point that out because although all this is so great, everybody's all excited. Again, to your point, not much has changed. The bonds are ripping again since we kind of had to talk about it. I'm glad I did because I was a little long and really wasn't paying me, but now it's paying me. The crude bottomed out here at 85.50 right after the number, and like everything else, again, I'll keep saying this until it changes, but all assets are one. Bob, can you see it right now?
Yeah. No, bring it up. I don't see it.
Yep. So it went from 85.50 all the way back into balance here for the week, 89.50. So up $4. Boom. So again, when these types of buy programs come in, it's across the board. And just for shits and giggles, let's look at gold. I wonder if it did the same thing. Not involved in it today, but let me take a look. And it's negative, but barely. Yep. Same exact thing. So again, buy program triggered, buy them all today. And this is a squeeze play, like you said, and you should not be trying to short today. And you're not going to be able to buy, and you're not going to be able to get. Matt, you're not going to get a good pullback to buy today either. And that's
I agree. And the fact of the matter is, with PPI and CPI out of the way until we get earnings here, there's some stuff next week for sure, but those are the 2 big ones that we've been keying these markets off of, and these are terrible candles if you're a bear market participant.
Yes,
in the short term.
Yep,
for sure.
Short term. So yeah, gold 1650 up to 1680, $30, 2% move. Again, you're not intelligent. It's just when the market decides to turn, everything turns at once. Well, but that's why you should just trade one thing and trade it well until you can do it well.
I would agree with that 100%. I think the biggest mistake
I pointed out because you don't need to trade all of them. They're all doing the same thing. So whether it's the SPOOs, whether it's the NASDAQ, whether it's oil, pick one, trade them.
It's not like the old days where you physically had to be in one pit.
Right.
So you have the ability to trade multiple things, but I agree with that 100%. Yep. You can't pay attention to it all. You just can't.
Can't do it.
So pick one thing, stick with it.
Yep.
And right now, just be on the buy side, the blue side. Turn your card around. Hold on a second. Turn your card around.
Highs of the day.
Blue side. All right. That's all we got. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Lee. Please visit us at marketvitals.io. Share, retweet, restream, plagiarize. Go to Amazon.com and buy some manja, shrimp mojo, or the bacon habanero. ketchup or the whiskey barbecue sauce or the hot sauce. I got to tell you, the Manja hot sauce is the best hot sauce out there.
We do have a
Yeah.
couple college games tonight too with the Manja hot sauce. So get your Manja hot sauce.
Yeah, I'll bring it over. I'll bring
And
it
then-
over.
And then Baylor, West Virginia tonight also, along with those two baseball games and that one Dan Snyder, whatever that's going to be. And then we have Temple, the Owls playing the UCF at UCF. Temple's favored under rather heavily underdogged, 24 points, and Baylor is a 3-point favorite at West Virginia. What do you like in those? I don't really have a gut for
Baylor. You got to go with Baylor.
Yeah, but it's at West
Gotta go with
Virginia,
Baylor.
and West Virginia is not bad. They got a good quarterback. They got the old USC quarterback. So never know. Once again, neither team 3-2, 2-3. There's not a lot of difference between those two teams right now. So be careful out there.
Listen, it's Bears. It's a night for the Bears. Baylor Bears, Chicago Bears. It's all Bears tonight.
Is there any?
You go with the Bears parlay.
There's no
tonight.
Cubs, so there's not
It's
a bear.
Bears and the under, Baylor and the under. You heard it here first, HFR.
He's
The
going-
quad.
He's going underground. Is what he's
He's
going.
going underground. Thank you for playing. All right, Matt. Thank you so much. I'm gonna get back to strumming some Psycho Killer. And hi. All right, thanks, Matt.
Thanks, Bob.
Hi.
Psycho killer, qu'est-ce que c'est?
Fuck
Ah, fine.
me.